Hello, my name is Shay. I wanted to talk a little bit today about trauma and family estrangement. It's something that I've been dealing with since 2015. And I think quite a few people can relate. Sometimes it seems like a taboo subject, and I think it's really important that people that go through estrangement and disconnect from family need to understand a few key things here. I think I'm going to do a nice little web series through YouTube about trauma and coping and some of my story. And basically how I cope on a day-to-day and when the going gets tough. My thoughts and feelings on it, and things to tell yourself. So basically, today was a hard day for me. I mean, it's only about 10 o'clock in the morning, so, I woke up, I had a dream actually about my sister Tristan dying, and it's really hard for me. Because I feel that dream basically represented some unfigured out feelings that I have about the subject at hand. Don't worry, I'm pulled over. Basically, there was an incident that happened within the family that drove all of us apart. I went down a big slope of drugs and drinking and partying all the time, and my family didn't like that, so essentially I was kicked out of the family. It wasn't until a couple years after that I realized that they themselves have some things that they also need to figure out, so it wasn't all on me. And the more I go through coping and the more I go and talk to people, the more I'm realizing that it's not always such a bad thing to be estranged or disconnected from family, especially when there's toxicity and manipulation and they themselves are unhealthy. So if you need to break away from that and get yourself healthy, I think that's admirable, and that's something that's sometimes very necessary to do if you yourself want to grow as a person and be mentally healthy. Estrangement isn't something that comes lightly from a family. It hurts everyone involved, but like I said, sometimes it's very necessary. Like I said, I've been dealing with this, being disconnected from my family, for about 5 years. I'm married now. My husband and I are trying to have a kid, or a couple kids, and but I have suffered greatly because of the estrangement, big time. But I have also grown as a person. I have also gotten healthier as a person. I've also learned what it's like to be loved and being shown kindness and understanding, and something that my family couldn't show me, and I couldn't show my family a lot of the time either. So this isn't about a blame game. He said, she said, kind of bullshit, anything like that. You got to get past that, and you got to do what's best for you. You have to realize that just because you're disconnected doesn't mean that you've failed in any way, shape, or form. People are human beings. You got to remember that everybody makes mistakes. Not everybody has the tools that they need in order to be functionable. And we just weren't functionable, and that's a fact. And that's the fact that I live with every day, and I'm sure that's a lot of what other people are living through every day. It's just something that you have to survive, and it's something that you have to learn to live with. And it sucks, and it hurts, and it's painful, and sometimes, I find myself crying at the stupidest things, and I realize it's because I'm missing them. It's totally okay to miss your family. It's totally okay to feel like you're missing out. But the things that you need to tell yourself is that you're doing what's best for you at the time. And at this time, even if you're still going through it like I am. And one day at a time, one step at a time, it's like AA, you know? Like you're addicted to your family, even if they're not good for you. And you put your trust into these people, and you spend so much time with these people, and sometimes it just goes sideways, and that's something that you have to deal with. The way I cope is I go and talk to people. I bring down my filter and I talk from the heart, and sometimes I need to go for a drive like what I was just on and listening to music, and you just need to tell yourself you're worth it. You're worth being loved. You're worth being showed kindness. You're worth being understood. And just because it's family doesn't mean that you have to tolerate abuse. Doesn't mean that you have to tolerate being treated poorly. That's not what a family means. You know, family means, you know, that sometimes it's going to get messy. And sometimes you're going to have to disconnect. And I don't know how long you're going to have to disconnect for. It could be a couple months. It could be 20 years. You don't know. And whether it's a couple months to a couple years, you need to know when you're ready, if you're ever ready, to go back. And if you're not ready, and if you don't ever get to a place where you're ready, that's okay. Send them loving kindness their way and say, I love you, I care about you, but you're not a healthy person, or these are not healthy people in my life, so I can't be around you. And it doesn't have to be hateful, and it doesn't necessarily have to be painful either. You're just doing what you need to do in order to function, in order to find happiness, in order to find who you are and grow as a person. Family estrangement is probably one of the hardest things that I've had to go through. We were a very tight-knit family, and when the going got tough, we just couldn't sustain it anymore. It's not on them, it's not on me, and this is something that I have to tell myself every day, because if I don't, then it's easy for hate, it's easy for sadness, it's easy for negative feelings to come into play, and I don't want to be unhappy. I can't be unhappy, you know? I need to be able to cope. I need to be able to function as an adult and live my life for me and my husband. And that's all I need to focus on. So whatever you have going on in your life, whether it's work or your own family or your own kids, save that little piece inside you to say, I deserve that love. I deserve that kindness. I deserve that understanding. And like I said, send loving kindness to your family and say, I love you and I care about you. I see you, and thank you. You can thank you for the time that you had, whether it was good or bad, because it taught you something. And whatever it taught you, that's what you get to figure out. And if your family tries to contact you again, it's up to you whether you want to accept it or not. But you need to be able to make peace within yourself. And you need to make peace within your life. And if you can live with not talking to them, great. If you can't and they're not ready to talk to you, you need to try to respect that. Send them loving kindness. And if you're angry and if you're upset, go for a drive, go for a walk, go and talk to somebody. You're not alone in this. And I'll open myself up too. If you need to speak, if you'd like to speak, drop a comment down on this video and we'll talk. I'm not certified. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a counselor. I'm just a normal person that has went through traumatics in my life. I'm 25 years old and I'm figuring it out one day at a time. But you can't let that negativity in, because if you do, it just eats and eats and eats away at you and you can't function. You can't. Find something positive every day to be thankful for. Tell yourself, I deserve to be happy. Whatever they do, whatever. Let them do what they're gonna do. But you don't have to tolerate manipulation or mind games or abuse, even if they are family. Because obviously they have some things they need to work out as well. So that was my spiel for today. It was about, just basically touched on family estrangement and disconnection, and, you know, make that connection with other people. Blood is thicker than water, but sometimes the water is really sweet. And that's what you need to find, one day at a time. Okay, thanks. Bye.